Going back a bit, I agree something must be done about repeat offenders and antisocial behavior within cities, but how do you thread the needle of cleaning up the streets without coming off as Newsom-esque? Legit question, not arguing. I genuinely think you have to frame it as a pro-police measure by saying that the police already have a very difficult job dealing with all of the, you know, the humdrum of the city, and the best thing you can do to support the police is by building institutions that keep dangerous people off the streets. And the best way that you can do that, I think, is by framing it as a sweep, but a sweep that you basically have to run through the other options. You know, our prisons are overflowing, and when people leave prison, they just reoffend. You know, recidivism is at an all-time high. Prisons aren't doing their job of reforming people. So what do you want to do? Keep everyone for a life sentence? Well, no, that's ridiculous. Then our prisons would overfill 3 times over. Do you want to build like a gigantic prison on 40th Street or something? Like, do you want to replace Central Park with a gigantic prison? No? Okay, then let's try new solutions. What I suggest is, and you need to propose it like a, this is my bold new plan, I think. And you need to be aggressive with it. And you need to say, like, for every dollar we spend on this, we will save in increases in tourism, from in increases in the you know, livability of the city. You don't need to do this for that many people, you know? But in order to properly do this, you would also need to work on whatever, like, fucked up incentives there are right now that are keeping these people on the streets. I don't really get it. I'm seeing different accounts, but like, it genuinely does seem like for some reason, the DAs and judges are just kicking some obvious repeat offenders back to the streets. I don't know why. Sometimes it's like, oh, this is your 3rd offense. Welcome to the slammer for 25 years. And sometimes it's like, oh yeah, this guy's been arrested 47 times and he's clearly like belligerent and mentally ill. You know, we'll enroll him in an optional 1-week-long rehab course, and if he just decides to leave the building, then he's back out in the street. And it's like, where's the consistency, you know? I'm not saying we need to be harder on policing. I'm just saying that, like, we do obvious. Have you seen the, like, fuss about people getting pushed in front of the subways in New York City? Like, people are stepping way back from the subway, from the rails, because they're worried someone will run up behind them and shove them to just like randomly kill them. Victim of New York City subway push attack recovering in hospital. Surveillance video captures man being shoved onto tracks.
Heart-stopping video, and we should warn our viewers.
Described by police as 45 years old, standing on the platform when a man in a blue hooded jacket comes in from the left side of the screen, then out of view for a moment, and then back from the right side of the screen. With no apparent warning, he pushes the man just as the train pulls in. We spoke to a woman who says she saw everything, talking to us exclusively on the condition we not show her face.
It was pretty horrible. I'm okay now.
Was he pushed right in front of a moving train?
Right at the last second, right in front of the train. Just shoved.
Why? Because they're mentally cooked. We're literally talking about like brain soup people. Like, they're not. I don't want to get too eugenicist about it, but they're not really capable of. Isn't this TOS? Don't TOS frog, squid, you retard. We're literally watching this video on YouTube. It looks like it might be targeted. No, it's not. It's literally just just random outbursts of violence. It's just tire brain. Yeah, I don't want to get eugenicist about it or whatever. It's just like these people can't abide by the social contract. It's antisocial behavior, as in it's not being motivated by like personal best interest necessary. It's literally just like an outburst for no reason, for the sake of the outburst. Is there any way to make these people better? I don't know. We don't really try to. Prisons basically just make people worse in this country. I mean, if like a proper rehab program would probably help a lot of them, because usually drugs have a lot to do with it. But in terms of the, you know, like that, I mean, if there's nothing that can be done for them, then sure, they spend their life in prison. What are you going to do? You should improve social conditions so stuff like this doesn't happen. But like for people like that, I guarantee you the guy who did the pushing has been in prison before. Like, this is kind of a justifiable death penalty situation, IMO. Speaking of, do you hear about that like nursing student who was breaking the bones of black babies in hospitals? Like, just for no reason. That's again, you know, like, obviously in a logistical sense, the death penalty is pretty difficult to defend, but you know, for no reason. Well, no, because they were black, but I mean, like, it wasn't like a fuck up or like a bad practice, or like, you know, the tube they put babies in to give them MRI scans or whatever. They're like fat, like they look like little pastry dough tubes or whatever. I just mean it was being done deliberately. Was the nurse a white guy? White girl. Not to assume gender, but lady from New Jersey was burned to death in the subway recently. Yeah, saw that. And it was an actual undocumented immigrant, right? I mean, leaving aside the immigration issue, this is just another one of those, yeah, like it's just antisocial behavior metastasizing to a, yeah. It was a homeless woman. Yeah, homeless people are far more likely to be the victims of violence. Same with mentally ill people. Far more likely to be the victims of violence than the perpetrators. What's wrong with our world that this is happening so much? Buddy, America's safer than it ever has been. We're living more or less, like maybe a decade ago it was a bit safer, but overall, like this is the safest. In terms of the likelihood of you being targeted for random violence, it is as basically as low as it ever has been. We just have phones now, so we see when it happens. Yeah, be in New York City during the 1990s. Whew. Remember that riot that started during the PS5 giveaway a year ago and a bit ago? You did a segment about it and talked about the breakdown of the social contract, and it just feels a lot like that. Yeah, I mean, that is... I do think that things are worsening rapidly because of COVID. Right now, things are still better. Like, in the historical scale, things are better now than they basically ever have been. Obviously, with some variants, you know, pre-COVID, things were a bit better. People do be going kind of crazy, though. Yeah, breakdown of the social contract. Anyway. I'm certain that suburbs are somehow to blame for this. Yeah, probably. I appreciate you're one of the only lefties that doesn't pull the small bean act with the mentally ill homeless. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not delusional about it, but also we have to remember that, like, this isn't, like, you're not at risk from this, really. Homeless people might spook you the most. You're more likely to die from heart disease or a car accident or a gun. What I'm talking about mostly is, like, rebuilding institutions in a way that gives us mechanisms for dealing with antisocial behavior that aren't just like militant police crackdowns that cost $100 trillion and do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I just want us to have I want people to believe that there is worth in institutions like rehab centers. Because if people believe in that, then they might feel comfortable with tax dollars going there and, you know, better outcomes being achieved. Whereas right now, people don't give a shit. I mean, the institutions I don't believe in are police and prisons because they only seem to cost a lot of money and make people worse. Yeah, religion does need to get out of rehab. Like AAA should as well. Yeah. Zach Lego attack. As people become more socially alienated and feel less group cohesion and have less faith in the ability for groups that they're a part of to improve their lives, they will lose interest in being members of groups, you know? It's hard to feel like a member of anything now that every organization worth a damn reaches across the whole world and has like millions of members, you know? It's difficult to feel like you're part of a family.